Hi everybody and welcome back to Capricorn Radio. This is your host James and I'm delighted to be talking to a returning guest today, Mr. Santos Bonacci. It's been a while since I've had Santos on the show and great to see Santos back in action. And let me just tell you a little bit about Santos. He runs the Universal Truth School. You can catch that at universaltruthschool.com. For over 30 years, Santos Bonacci has been researching the ancient works, compiling and translating into more accessible terms in the study of astrotheology. Santos deals with the subject of syncretism, bringing together all the fields of knowledge and wisdom, showing the interrelatedness of all things. Syncretism is the opposite of division and disunity, and covers all the big topics like theology, astrotheology, natural science, astrology, reclaiming dominion, breaking the fictions of religion, science and the law, and the holy science. An ancient science based on the workings of the solar system, which is the science of as above, so below. And we're going to get into some of that today. I'm going to focus a little bit on astrology today. It's a new year, and we're going to talk about some of the astrological wheel, and we're also going to probably touch on some of the Chinese astrology, as we have a Chinese New Year coming up in February too. So without further ado, let's bring on today's guest. Hi Santos, welcome back to Capricorn Radio.
Thanks, James. It's a pleasure to be with you again. Last time I saw you was when I was staying at your place, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Back in September, I think it was, 2013. And I think we only did one show after that.
Yeah, it's been a while then, Santos, hasn't it? Wow. Yeah, it's great to have you here, Santos. It's great to show you around Ireland as well. And I can't believe it's nearly a year and a bit since that event. Yeah, so much has happened, I suppose, Santos. New year ahead of us as well. I wanted to touch on some astrology today. We had planned to do this so long ago, Santos, but we're so busy, the two of us. And, I always try to explain the astrological wheel to people, Santos. It starts at Aries and it works its way, right back to Pisces. But traditionally we might just step away from that today and maybe just talk about Capricorn. We're in the month of Capricorn now. I just wanted to kind of talk more so practicality. What's the traits of each star sign and how we recognize them? And for me, Santos, and this is for the listeners as well, but we'll get to everybody, I think, hopefully. But I see traits, and when I see traits, I see their star sign, and this is the proof of astrology to me, Santos. This is the royal signs at work. You probably agree with that, but let's talk a bit about Capricorn. Let's talk about some of their traits. Break it down to its constituent components and tell us who the Capricorns are.
Okay, so all the characteristics and attributes, etc. Is that what you're
Sure,
talking
yeah,
about?
the attributes and the traits and the characteristics of a Capricorn.
All right. Well, astrologically, the element is Earth. The ruler is Saturn, which in alchemy, his metal is lead. And the other interesting thing about Capricorn, a lot of people pass over, is the fact that Mars exalts in Capricorn. So you've got two malefics in Capricorn. Now, where a planet exalts is very important. It's the most powerful combination. A planet exalting. See, the moon exalts in Taurus, the sun exalts in Aries. Mm-hmm. Mars exalts in Capricorn. Now, what does that mean? Well, it's all about energy. Astrology is all about energy, electrical force, mm-hmm. and vibration. So what it means is you've got an earth element, which is solid. Everything that is solid. Capricorn is very solid. It's cardinal earth. So it has to do with the fact that it's winter. Capricorn begins on the 21st of December, which is the solstice, so it's the shortest day of the year.
Sure.
Cold. Saturn begins his rule, and his element is lead, whereas the element of Mars is iron. So you can see that this sign, the two, Saturn and Mars, Saturn's the greater malefic in astrology, and Mars is the lesser benefic. Saturn rules the taste of acidic, and Mars rules the taste of bitter. So it's got a lot of solidity, structure, earthiness about it. You must understand this. And it is the beginning of the sun's journey up the ecliptic yearly. So the 21st of December, the beginning of Capricorn, is the moment in which now that's the shortest day of the year. That day is nicknamed, in the liturgical year, it's called the Day of St. Thomas, St. Tom's Day, because, when you go to Helen Tommy, you go down to winter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm explaining all these things scientific. This is science. It's just, the physical aspects of the ecliptic and the year. But I'm also blending in the astrological components, and you must also blend in a bit of the theological components when you're talking about Capricorn. Please let me introduce that, and then you'll see where I'm getting at to answer your question. Theologically or philosophically, what we have in Capricorn is we have in astrology it's called I build. The motto of Capricorn is I build, I use. Mm-hmm. This is the mason, the builder. This is why when the sun is born on the 25th of December, he is called the carpenter's son. Mm-hmm. The carpenter is the mason, the builder. The son, the mason, is mother's son. And so what is, and the mother is Virgo, which, the son is born of a virgin. What you have here is the beginning sign. It is the beginning of the year, really, in one sense, because the sun now begins to climb. He's just hit the Tropic of Capricorn, 21st of December. Mm-hmm. That's the shortest day. Sure. When he hits the Tropic of Capricorn, he has reached wave amplitude of the ecliptic. Please understand this. Now the sun is climbing. He stays 3 days motionless on the horizon, and then on the eve of Christmas midnight, he begins his journey moving along the horizon, and you can visually see it if you watch the sun rising or setting, and you can see it visually. You can watch it moving along the horizon. The sun is walking on water, and what happens is now the sun has to climb up the ecliptic to the Tropic of Cancer, mm-hmm. the other wave amplitude. And as it goes up and down, the sun, from summer to winter, Tropic of Cancer to Tropic of Capricorn, yearly, cyclically, it passes 2 equinoxes, 2 days of perfect balance, and they are the other cardinal signs where Aries is, mm-hmm. right, mm-hmm. 21st of March, and where Libra is, mm-hmm. 21st of September. So what's going on now? Those are the signs of balance. Aries is the sheep, and Capricorn, the sign of unbalance, is the goat. The wave amplitude, the shortest day of the year and the longest day of the year, nature doesn't really, really like that. Those are polarities, dualities. Those are extremes. And many people die in winter and many people die in summer. They can't handle the cold or they can't handle the heat. So this polarity, it's doing our heads in, right? So Capricorn rules the solstices. He is the ruler of the solstice and the goat, and the sheep, Aries, is the ruler of the equinoxes. So you have the war of the sheep and the goats, you mm-hmm. see. But the reason I'm explaining all this is because all of these signs must be merged together to understand what it means when the sun is in Capricorn. He is building now. He is building a new year. He is the builder, Jesus, the Son, born on the 25th of December, climbing. He is the goat that has to climb, as the Egyptians used to say. That's why He's at the bottom there at the Tropic of Cancer, and he has to climb up to the scarab, or the crab, same word, in Cancer.
Sure.
And the scarab is the beetle who also climbs up, the dung beetle. He climbs up hills with his dung, and then the dung falls, goes down, and then he picks it up and he climbs it up the hill. So the scarab, scarab, is the symbol in Egypt of the sun on the ecliptic. And when it reaches the sign of the crab, the scarab of Cancer, it's reached the other polarity. Now, Capricorn is earth, Cancer is water. Capricorn is the sensational body of man. Capricorn is the emotional body of man. Whereas Aries, fire, is the spiritual, and Libra on the equinox is an air sign. That is the intellectual, mental nature of man. So this is man on the cross and his four natures, okay? So, but Capricorn is the earthiest. It rules, there are 12 systems in the body and there are 12 signs on the ecliptic. As Capricorn rules the bones, the skeletal system, Aries rules the cerebrospinal system. Hence, that's why when Jesus says, when I come in my kingdom, I will separate the sheep from the goats. The sheep shall go off on the right side, they shall go off into everlasting life. The goats on my left, they shall go on to everlasting perdition. Because Capricorn rules the most solid part of the body, the skeletal system. Aries rules the most subtle part of the body, the cerebrospinal system with its 7 chakras. That's the Lamb of God in Revelation that has 7 seals. Remember, in the book of Revelation it says, only the Lamb who was slain shall be worthy to open the 7 seals, and the lion. The lion is the heart chakra, and it's Leo. It's the heart, but Aries is the cerebrum, and that's the head. So this is the motif in the scriptures where it says the lamb and the lion will lay as one, and there will be peace, because that's when the heart and the mind of man are united, Leo and Aries. Then we will have true peace on the earth. There won't be wars. There will be true peace on the earth. There will be paradise. So, now, going back to, and by the way, Leo rules the heart and the circulation, the circulatory system of the body. Every sign rules one of the 12 systems of the body.
Sure.
It's very important to understand this, because Capricorn is the knees and the bones. So it's earthy, it's political structure. It has to do with everything of kingly subject. You know, the ruler, the president, the prime minister, the queen, the king, government, authority, infrastructure, all of the solid part of our life. All right? The body. In the body, it's the bones. That's solid, right? That's why Saturn rules Capricorn. Lead. It's heavy. It's really earthy, cardinal earth, right? And it's also the iron of Mars, because Mars exalts in Aries. And I was going to explain what an exaltation is. In the Hindu Jyotish Vedic astrology of the East, they say that the exaltation is more important than the domicile. And so did the Babylonians and the Chaldean astrologers. Whereas the Egyptians and the Romans and the Greeks in the West, we say that a domicile is more important. Well, Saturn is domiciled in Capricorn, and he gets 5 points of essential dignity in astrology. That's the highest point. That's like when you get gold at the Olympics. Then an exaltation gets 4 points. But in the East, they've switched that around, okay? And the Chaldeans used to say it was 5 points for an exaltation. So both of these planets, iron, Mars, lead, Saturn, give solidity and heaviness, right? And grossness to our bodies, the bones. And this is where the king is. Whereas in Aries, the cerebrospinal system, that's where the lamb, that's where the spiritual priest is. You see? Hence, the king and the priest. We must be kings and priests with Christ for 1,000 years, etc., etc. That theme about the king and the priest. Well, when I did my presentation there in Ireland with you, James,
sure.
Yeah, I spoke about this, and of course, you know, the presentation was later shut down because the police came, didn't they? And we know what all that meant. We know why they did that, because this knowledge is too important. Because when you understand that the sheep and the goat, the king and the priest, is what we are here to do. In other words, to be sovereign and to be self-determined and self-governed and responsible and fully liable and fully trustworthy and genuine and truth speaker. When you do that, the king, the philosopher king that Plato said, that's Capricorn, that's the king. And when you mix that with Aries, the spiritual, the priest, and you now have activated your crown chakra, because that's where Aries is. Now you are the king and the priest. You are spiritually free, and you are now responsibly free as a king, because you are a king. We are kings, kings and queens. You know, we are children of light, divine beings of divine light, and we are so we're so powerful. We are very, very powerful creators. But what we've done is we've deferred that. We are not kings and priests, and what we are is we are sheeple and chattel.
Sure.
And so you know, Capricorn teaches us the lesson that we are builders, we are masons, we are creators, and we can use things to build. So it's the builder. It's where the sun begins to build the whole year on the ecliptic, the 25th, when it begins to climb from the Tropic of Cancer, Capricorn, to the Tropic of Cancer. So that's why a lot of Capricorn people are successful in business. And
I was just going to say, Santos, my next thing was, you know, I always say to people, if you're going to go into business, and you just said it for me, if you're going to go into business with a Capricorn. I have a Capricorn guy I'm in business with at the moment. I love the guy. He's true to his word. He's rock solid. He's ambitious. He's wise. He's mature. You know, he's just everything. I can see why Capricorns are successful. These are the greatest. They're workaholics. They're the workaholics of the zodiac.
Yeah, they are mountain goats. You watch them climb. I have a niece, and I posted a video. She's a Capricorn. She was born in December.
Yeah.
And her name is Marissa. Marissa is Mars. Okay, Mars exalts in Capricorn. There is no name that exists that is not appropriate to the sign that the native is born under. You will find this with all Capricorns. You will find these names that connect with earthiness, or with Mars, or with Saturn, without a doubt. I've proven this many, many times. So Marissa, little Capricorn, she started walking at 1 year, 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
Then in March, I have a video recording which I posted on YouTube. You can just watch Marissa, the mountain goat, Capricorn, Santos Bonacci, punch in those words and you'll see this little girl. I filmed her. And in March of her first year of life, so she was, 12, she was 15 months old, she was standing on her mother's kitchen table.
Wow.
And the mother turned around and there's Marissa, the little goat. She climbed that chair, she climbed that table, she stood on that table. The mother absolutely petrified, grabbed the little girl. I filmed her standing on a little stool in my house, so please click on that video. But I noticed when she was 13 months old, the way she climbed the stairs. The house had steps. There's about 7 steps up into my brother's house where I was living at the time. And I noticed the way she climbed. It was with the sureness of a goat.
Mm.
And I said to the mother, who is also a Capricorn, I said, watch out for this one, because this one is going to climb stuff. She will be climbing things because she does it with such confidence and such poise and ease.
Confidence.
So I used to play guitar with a Capricorn, Alejandro, and I've watched that with him. You know, the building and the climbing attitude that he has. We were a duo. We actually even played. We did a gig in India for I forget in Mumbai for Louis Vuitton's 150th birthday in 2004. So, and we also did a lot of touring. We've been to New Zealand. We've been to Japan playing music with Alejandro. He's a Capricorn, and he does exercise. You see, they're consistent. He's everyday exercise, building, running, jogging, and also composing songs. They have they've got a very, very deep, crafty ability. They are the craftsmen. They are, and they can be crafty too.
Oh yeah.
Because Capricorn all the signs have an evil side, right? They're all good. They've all got good things. And they've all got bad things. That's how everything works in the electrical world that we
Positive
live
and
in.
negative.
It's very important to understand that. Otherwise, we can condemn certain signs that we're not compatible with. You hear people say, "Oh, I hate Arians," or "I hate Leos," or "I hate Scorpios," and they've got all these astrological hates.
I think people,
that all goes back.
Sorry, Sam. I think people that say that are starcists. I call them starcists. They're not racist. They're like racist to other star signs, But, I think it's because, like you said, there's a positive side and a negative side to anybody, whether you look at it in an astrological sense or not. And you know what I also say, Santos? You show me somebody and you tell me they don't have a dark side, I call them a liar, because I think everybody's got a dark side. And I think everybody's got a positive side. Hopefully you get rid of the dark side as you hit adolescence and you realize from a child your morality code and all that. And I just think everybody's got that dark side, and I think that's just the nature of man, the nature of the human race now. So it's just a cap on that.
Yeah, for sure. And I've dwelt on a lot of the good things about Capricorn, but on the other side, and there are three types of goats. There's the pan goat, very sexual, very sexy, sweet people, Capricorns. But sexy is what they're good at. Very sexy, sweet. And there's another S I usually put in there. Well, the opposite of sweet is sour. Saturn rules sour. And so there can be that too. We'll get into the negative in a minute. But there's the mountain goat, the pan goat, and the scapegoat. Three types of Capricorn. And yeah, there's three, because there's three deacons in each sign. But there's also two because there's duality in each sign. But certainly the three deacons give you three types of each sign, and so, but the negative side is that, they can be crafty, and they use, I use is Capricorn the builder. Mm-hmm. And so you'll find them, that's why they're good with business. You said it. They will use other services, departments, products, industry. They will use them properly. They know how to use, but that can be a negative too. You see, you can manipulate that way, so they can be crafty and manipulative. But certainly, having Mars in there, Mars is the climber. That's why Mars exalts in Capricorn. That's the place where it exalts. So an exaltation means when a planet and a Capricorn and a sign are well mixed with their energies, they exalt. Now, it's easy to explain when you look at the two planets. When you look at the Sun and Saturn. Now, the Sun is Mr. Hot and Saturn is Mr. Cold. All right. The Sun's humors are hot and moist. Hot and dry, and the Saturn's humors are cold and dry. Now, Saturn exalts in Libra, and the Sun, like I said before, exalts in Aries. Well, think about it. Why would the Sun exalt in Aries? If you know the ecliptic well, if you know the yearly cycle, I can give you 10 reasons, because I know the ecliptic and I'm already thinking along those lines. But I'll ask you the question, James, and you can take it rhetorically or you can even give me an answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why, scientifically, astrologically, philosophically, why the sun would exalt in Aries?
No idea.
Well, when you know the ecliptic, you know that when the sun is at the equinox on March the 21st,
Sure.
Before that, the nights were longer and the days were shorter.
Mm-hmm.
So the longest night is on the 21st of December in Capricorn, right?
Sure.
The absolute middle is on the 21st of March on the equinox. So 12 hours of darkness, 12 hours of light, perfectly at the equinox, equal night and day. So, but from that point on, from the 21st of March on in Aries, the sun begins to produce longer days and shorter nights. That, for 6 months, that was not the case. In the winter 6 months, half of the year. The sun was suffering. It went down to Tommy in hell on the 21st of December, the solstice, to get crucified. At St. Tom's Day in Hell and Tommy, down to Hell and Tommy. And then it climbs 90 days, 90 degrees, finally reaches the equinox. Bang! It begins to produce longer days, shorter nights. That's why it exalts. And on the opposite equinox, September 21st, Saturn exalts. Well, Saturn is black, dark, lead, nighttime. He rules down below Libra, Capricorn, and Aquarius. How he's domiciled in Capricorn and Aquarius, but he exalts in Libra. You see? Why does he exalt? Because the nights are longer now, and the days are shorter. So you understand what exaltations are. So why does Iron and Mars exalt in Cancer, in Capricorn, and opposite Jupiter exalts in Cancer? It's very important to understand these are the four big boys of the zodiac, the four male planets. Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, and the Sun. The four horsemen of the apocalypse, of the ecliptic. And they all exalt in the tropical cardinal signs. Why does Mars exalt? Why does Iron exalt in Capricorn? Again, the question, rhetorically, or you can give me an answer, James. I can give you 10 reasons, like I did. Why does the Sun exalt in Aries?
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
I'm guessing happiness, positivity, change of polarity.
Yet, in the sense that now the sun is climbing the ecliptic that is positive, it is waxing and not waning, because from the Tropic of Capricorn, Cancer down to the Tropic of Capricorn, it is waning.
I'm thinking of the confidence of a Capricorn, that rising confidence, that rising with the energy, rising.
Yeah, you're spot on.
Rising.
You're spot on, because the Mars has to climb the ecliptic now. It exalts in Capricorn. Mars backwards is Ram. It's Ram. And that ram is a climber, just like the goat. But I'm thinking alchemically. Why does Mars exalt in Capricorn? Now, alchemically, I explained to you why the Sun exalts in Aries, and that's because the Sun now, the producer of daylight, is now giving you more daylight than night than Saturn was for 6 months along the ecliptic. But the reason being, I'll cut to the short now. Okay, so Iron Mars is winter. It's the Iron Age. See, the Golden Age is Aries, the spring, along the ecliptic. This is what Bonacci, the 12th century astrologer, says in his beautiful book, and he was a contemporary of Dante. But Bonacci says, the spring, Aries, the cardinal sign, ushers the spring. It is gold. The sun exalts in Aries. Then Cancer is silver. Cancer is a silver sign. The moon is domiciled in Cancer. Jupiter, tin, is exalting in Cancer. He is silvery. He is the silvery one, the element of tin. He brings you up to the Tropic of Capricorn, Cancer, where he exalts in summer. Jupiter Amun, the great one. Then we come to the Bronze Age, Venus in Libra, and that is the autumn. So the Silver Age is the summer. The Golden is the spring, begins in Aries. Cancer ushers in the silver, summer. Venus ushers in the bronze, autumn. And Mars exalting in Capricorn ushers in the Iron Age of winter. And unless you understand this syncretically, when you syncretize all the sciences, you will not understand astrology. Astrology works along the ecliptic. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about Capricorn, and we're trying to give the characteristics of Capricorn. Well, I've done that with all. Well, there are other sciences that can be merged here. There's numerology, there's gematria, there's many more. But I've done a little bit of syncretism so that you understand why Capricorn is so unique. I'm giving you, and then we could go and do all the other signs. But the other thing is, it's the number 10. It's the 10th sign. 10 is how many fingers you have on your hand. You are a human because man is the hand. Manus, mano. And you manifest, manipulate, manufacture, manage, maneuver, manacle, all of these things with your human hands. So Capricorn, see, he's 10. He's got 10 fingers. He's practical. He's a practical pig.
Sure.
You know?
It's, it always strikes me, another thing about the Capricorns is these guys are realists. There's no fantasy land here. These guys, every Capricorn I ever met, it's just straight to business. It's realism. There's no escaping to fantasy land, Santos.
Yeah, man. Yep. You've got some good insights there too. You're spot on. They also, you must remember,
and that's why I think they're easy to spot, Santos. So maybe just add to that. I think Capricorns are easy to spot in the workplace, in friendships, in social situations. I find certain signs are easy to spot. But I find some I'm confused. I would have to know a bit more. Some of them are just, kind of in your face to me. But the thing is, the Capricorns can be a bit shy too. You know, but I just see things like that, but the confidence.
Yes, shy is the other S that I was looking for. Sweet, sexy, and
little shy.
And shy. Because, why? They're all shy and they're all bold, all the signs, but you have to explain why. What kind of shy?
Say the Cancers are shy, don't they? They say the Cancers are shy.
Because Arians are shy too. They are lambs, humble. They can be humble, that's their positive side. Sheep-like, naive, gullible, sweet, you know. They also have sweet too, but it's a different sweet, you see. So you have to explain, every sign needs to be explained by the planets that are domiciled or exalted in them, by the element, by the modality, whether it's cardinal, fixed or mutable, whether it's fire, air, water or earth. And this is how these components pass on through to the individual. So why are they shy? Why? Because they're secretive. Because Saturn is dark. It's the dark light. There's two kinds of lights. There's the extrovert daylight and there's the introvert nightlight. See, if you were born at midnight, well, that darkness is going to come through in your personality. If you were born at midday when the sun is in the 10th house, at midday on the MC, then you've got this bright sun, you know, you've got this career going on. Yeah, that's the house of career. You know, if you were born between 10 a.m. and 12 a.m., your sun will be in the 10th house, and that's where you want it to be. That's where Sri Rama has his sun. Sri Rama has a perfect chart, 5 exaltations and 1 domicile. So he's got 6 planets in his chart domiciled. You know, look up, Google the chart of Sri Rama, and you'll see. And he's got the sun in Aries, where it exalts, in the 10th house. That's where you want the sun. So these people who are born at midday there, they've got the sun in the 10th house, they're radiant, they're extrovert, they've got all this outward energy. Whereas people who are born at midnight with the sun now in the 3rd house, because the housing system goes left anti-clockwise, right? That's the funny thing about astrology is the signs go clockwise and the houses go anti-clockwise. So it's an interesting thing. So with the sun in the third house now, this is indicating more, it's in the darkness. You're born at midnight, and so this comes through into the individual. So there are two kinds of charts. There's a nocturnal and a diurnal, and you can belong to the nocturnal sect or the diurnal sect, you see. I was born late afternoon, 4:30, so my chart is a diurnal chart.
No,
and that comes out in my personality. Most of my planets are above the horizon, so, I'm sort of probably 60% leaning toward extrovert. I'm okay, with crowds, but other times
I'm born close to midnight.
Crowds,
I'm actually born.
It's too much noise, mental noise and vibration and energy. So I like my privacy and quietness. But the Saturnian Capricorn, they've got all these earthy gifts. You see, they can be real good little builders and practical and clever, very crafty. And they've got, like I said, the three S's: sweet, soft, and shy. But they've got secretive in there too. Saturn is lead. It's the color black. It's dark. It's all about the wintry months, because Capricorn is winter, midwinter. But it also corresponds with the daily cycle. It corresponds with midnight. You see, whereas midday, that's the spring and summer signs of the ecliptic. Aries through Virgo, the first six. So because really the ecliptic begins on the 21st of March. Astrology starts with Aries, but the secular year begins in Capricorn. That's why January 1st, New Year's Day, is in Capricorn. Because it's not wrong. It's not wrong at all. You can have a natural year, which begins in Aries, or you can have a secular year, which naturally also begins in Capricorn. It's the sheep and the goats. So it's very important to understand all the elements that you must incorporate and consider when describing the astrological signs. Now, if an individual has the sun in Capricorn, that's one thing. If they have their ascendant in Capricorn, that's another. And if they have their moon in Capricorn, that is another. You see, so the sun is the active nature of the individual. The moon is the reactive nature. So when you consider the sum of all the characteristics of the Capricorn, and if you consider that an individual has their moon in Capricorn, you will know how it is that they react in the world of reacting. So a newly born baby for its first 7 years is actually living the moon sign. They are living their moon signs. They're not necessarily, because they're reacting. Children are reacting for 7 years. You see, then they go to their ascendant sign. What's the ascendant? Well, that's the sign that is rising, the rising sign, the moment you are born. So, you might be born at midnight. The sun is, below your feet, really on the other side of the globe, at midnight. But if you look to the east, there will be, where the sun rises, the zodiac belt will be there, and there will be a sign rising. In my case, it was Leo. I was born at 4:30, sun in Aries, so Leo's on the ascendant. It's rising. So what your ascendant is, you'll live that through the age of 7 through 14. You are now doing a little bit of a mask. You're living, it's the earthy sign, your bones. It gives you your look, especially if you are a nocturnal, if you're born in the sun below the horizon, your ascendant will be more prominent. This is why it's hard too sometimes to guess the sign, because the nocturnal sect, the ascendant is more prominent. So I've actually made mistakes. I've guessed the individual's ascendant many times, you know.
Sure.
And so that's caused a little bit of interesting situation, because the individual will say, you're wrong, you know, you guessed wrong. You know, they'll say, I'm not Sagittarian, I'm Arian, because my son's in Aries. But then I'll say to them, well, okay, what time were you born? And then I'll work out, because it must be your ascendant. And so they give me the time, and I work it out, and sure enough, Sagittarius was on the ascendant. So I picked the ascendant sign, because you see, the sun is the spirit, the moon is the soul, and the ascendant is the body. Spirit, soul, and body. So the ascendant, when you're 7 years of age, you start getting into your body. You start being more aware of your body. You see, puberty comes at 14, for instance, you know, and 12, 13, 14. So you're now aware of your body. You're looking at it, you're touching it, and everything. That's your ascendant, you see. And so when you know your child's ascendant, if they're 8 years of age, you'll know that they've gone out of their moon. So they're not reacting now. Now they're acting through the ascendant. And then at 14, bang, you know, you come into your sun sign. And then you live the rest of your life, and people can really distinguish and point out your sun sign, and they can see you operating and acting through it more and more. But you will always be reacting with your moon sign. My moon is Pisces. So I've got a mix of Aries, sun, top of the head, moon, Pisces, bottom of the body, and Leo is in the heart. My ascendant is Leo of the heart, you see. So, and so people have Leo ascendants, so they have their heart. You know, you can see their heart. They're more open. It's more difficult for them to hide things and to be more secretive, and they are more open. You see, they wear their hearts on their sleeves. They use their power for good. They have great physical energy. They're very strong, you know. And so Saturn has the negative of the active, cold, and he has the negative of the passive, dry. Jupiter, on the other hand, who is the greater benefic, he has the better of the active humour, hot, and he has the better of the passive humour, moist. See, in the summertime, everything's hot and moist. And what do you need? You need that for your plants to grow. In the winter, everything is cold and dry, because there's no growth. So Capricorn, you look around you now, you see all that snow? That's Saturn. You see all that cold? He's cold and dry, guys. I mean, this is not going to make sense to listeners in Australia, because it's rather warm right now. It's the opposite. But astrology, the whole planet is imbued by the northern hemisphere unidirectional astrological ecliptic. Okay? And so I was born in the southern hemisphere on March the 24th. I'm Arian. I'm not Libran. You know, there are astrologers out there who are spreading disinformation that, you know, no, it's absolutely not. It's, it all comes from the ecliptic. Everything comes from the ecliptic, and it's unidirectional, and it all starts on March the 21st. Astrology, the astrological natural year begins on March the 21st. The secular, calendar year begins, well, they say January 1st, but that's just 10 days after, the 21st December, which is the beginning of Capricorn. But the Jews also place the secular year in Libra, you know, the other equinox. But the point is, you can start the year anywhere you like, as long as it's one of those cardinal points. It will always be one of the cardinal points. Cancer, for some reason, is the least chosen one, but in all cultures, always, everywhere, and without exception, the year has always begun. That's why Cancer has both the moon and Jupiter exalting in it and domiciled. Jupiter is the exalter in Cancer. He is hot and moist. He's bringing the summer. See? But Saturn is the ruler, and Mars is hot and dry. At least Mars has got a mixture of one good humour and one bad humour, but Saturn has both the bad ones, you see. So this is what makes the Capricorn stingy. It's these two things. You have to describe what it is. You have to explain how it is that they are selfish, as opposed to how it is an Arian is selfish. You see, an Arian is perceived to be selfish because I am is always thinking about I am. You see, their motto is I am. So, you know, they are very, very aware of their being, you see, and so they appear to be self-centered, and they appear to be selfish in that way because they do things for themselves, because, you see, it's the first sign. It's the sign of one. Now, Capricorn also goes back to one if you do, if you do Gematrian numerology, and so it reduces down to 1 and 0, make 1, but it's more, it's a complete, it has completeness about it. It's the letter Yod in Hebrew, and Yod means hand, and hand has 10, and it's the 10th letter. I mean, you can't make any of this stuff up. All languages and all of this is fabricated by light, so it's all perfect. Astrology is perfect, the Word of God. And so, but Arians, they are sheep-like, hence, they will be critical, and so that makes them appear to be selfish, because krios is the lamb in Greek. Aries, krios, criticize, critique. And so that will give them a self-centeredness, judging others and being judge-like. That's why the judge wears the barristers wear the sheep's wool headdress, because they're balancing on the equinox and judging like krios, the criticizing land. And so all the signs will have that negativity to it. Okay, well, we're about finished. You're going to wrap it up. Thanks, James. And next week we'll do another sign, I guess. Or next fortnight or month. Thank you.
Okay, Santos, that's great. Wow, what an explanation for Capricorn. Let's come back and we'll do Aquarius in a couple of weeks, and we'll time that for the month of Aquarius, and really looking forward to that. What an in-depth analogy, Santos, and its syncretism, bringing it all together. For me, I struggle because I see things from a practical sense, and I don't have that royal science skill set that you have with the syncretism as well. So, fascinating discussion, Santos. We'll cap it at that. Of course, universaltruthschool.com. You can find all about Santos there, and astrotheology and the wider science of syncretism.